The Branding Basics, the Student's Guide to Branding Cattle. What is branding, and why do we brand cattle? Remember when you were younger and you didn't want to share a toy with your sibling? How could you keep things from your siblings? Could you maybe place your name on it? That's why we brand cattle as farmers. Branding is a practice of marking livestock for identification purposes. In the past, this has only referred to hot branding, but freeze branding practices have become more common in recent years. Branding is to help identify livestock in case of theft or lost cattle. Livestock branding dates back to 2700 BC, evidenced by ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. But brands are most famously associated with the cowboys and cattle drives of the Old West. Hot iron branding. When an iron is the right temperature, it takes 3 to 5 seconds to apply a brand to cattle with a light hair cover. Cattle with extensive hair growth should be clipped before branding, otherwise it will take longer than necessary to apply the brand. Branding can be done quickly by pressing firmly and rocking the handle slightly to apply the character evenly. Rocking the handle will prevent overburn and underburn in any one spot. When the iron is lifted, the hide should be a buckskin color. If branding iron is lifted too soon, it will leave a temporary brand that will disappear entirely when the animal changes hair. If the iron needs to be applied the second time, apply it in the exact same position. To apply a good brand, prevent the animals from moving as much as possible. This can be done by using a cattle squeeze or manually wrestling them to the ground. It is best to brand calves using manual wrestling or a calf table. For older cattle, use a squeeze with an opening large enough to both apply the brand properly and avoid crowning the irons on the animal. How to heat branding irons. Solid dry wood is the best fuel for heating branding irons. Build a bigger fire than is needed and allow it to burn down to a bed of red hot coals that is gathered in the bottom of a pit. Keep the branding irons on top of the coals and not in the flames of the fire. Another satisfactory method for heating branding irons is to use a propane bottle and burner. Using electrically heated irons has become more common in recent years, but make sure you have a heavy extension cord and a good power source, as they are required to provide sufficient heat to the iron. Freeze branding. Freeze branding kills the pigment-producing cells in the hair follicle. Therefore, when the hair regrows where the brand was applied, it will turn out white. Freeze branding is done with a special copper or bronze irons cooled to a negative 100 degrees to a negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. It is best to freeze brand on black, dark red, or red animals. However, satisfactory results on lighter colored animals can be achieved by leaving the irons in place for a longer period of time. How to freeze brand. First, you need safety gloves, a good cooler, a set of clippers, dry ice, and of course the irons. Step 1. Cool the irons for 20 minutes before using them on the first animal. The liquid nitrogen should cover the head of the iron by at least 1 inch. Step 2. Restrain the animal in a head gate and a squeeze shoe if preferred. Clip the hair from the area that is to be branded. Step 3. Saturate the branding area with alcohol. You may need to brush the area to work the alcohol all the way into the skin. Step 4. Immediately apply the freeze branding iron on the animal. The iron must move directly from the coolant to the animal. Apply very firm pressure to the iron. Hold the iron to the animal based off of a preset time period that is based off the animal's age. Step 5. Remove the iron from the animal and immediately place the iron in the coolant for recooling. Remember, it takes about 2 minutes to recool the iron before the proper temperature before applying the same iron again. What makes up a brand? All brands must be registered in the state's brand book. Your brand can be made up of numbers, letters, or symbols, but it must contain at least 2 of these characters. For many people, the use of initials or business names in their brands is successful. There are 6 places a brand can be administered: the left hip, the right rib, the left rib, the right shoulder, and the left shoulder. Go find your state brand book and see what all sorts of different kinds of brands are used in your state. Why is branding used in the animal industry? What makes up a brand? And what kinds of brands are used in the industry today?